Greetings, everybody. If you're new to my channel, I'm Kat Courtney. I'm the CEO of Plant Medicine People, and I'm here to address a question today around deciphering whether or not the messages that we receive when we're working with plants like ayahuasca and magic mushrooms, whether these messages are real or not. How do we know? This is like $1,000,000 question, isn't it? Because the short answer to that question is that we don't often know. I think it really is contingent upon defining what we mean by real or reality. I asked ayahuasca once what reality is and isn't, and she answered in her typical witty and very direct way that reality is whatever we are experiencing. So an individual's experience of reality does not have to be shared by a single other conscious being in order for it to be real to them. So if we hold that whatever we are experiencing is real, the messages we are receiving when we're working with medicines like this are real. But then we have to ask, real in what context? In other words, is it information that we want to take to the bank, so to speak, that we want to take action around? Or is it information that we're invited to sit with and to ponder? Because, for example, sometimes plants like ayahuasca will give us information that isn't necessarily true in a tangible sense. Sometimes she's just offering things up for us to try on, to consider. Would I want this to be true? Example would be, you're in the wrong relationship, or this person's your soulmate, or it's time to leave your job. Maybe this is your vocation. The plants are never demanding that we follow their lead, that their messages are our orders. We're not pawns and they're not our gurus. Instead, they're always invitations to try things on, because we, each of us as individuals, we're the ultimate determinators of what is real and not real, or what is valid and not valid, what we want to act upon and what we want to just put aside and say, no, thank you. So always take the information that's coming through these portals with that layer of discernment. Never feel obligated that anything is unequivocally true. If it feels true to you, fantastic. If it doesn't, fantastic. We get to say no to the plants of like, no, I don't want to do that. We get to have our own authority and sovereignty. They never want to take that from us. In fact, all the plants help to build up more of that sense of empowerment, of trusting our instincts, of protecting ourselves, and of doing what feels right to us. So are the messages real? Yes, in the sense that all things that we experience are real, but are the messages that come through, is everything something we have to act upon and treat as if it's gospel? No, we do not. We get to use our own discernment and throw things away and keep things sacred and do whatever feels right to us. So lastly, I want to address the core question people ask is, how do I know the messages that I'm receiving from the plants are from the plants themselves and not from my own ego? Another brilliant question, and another way to, for me to say, we don't know. But there are some things that we can do that helps to more ascertain whether or not it's from an egoic voice versus the consciousness of a plant. One of the ways that I know when ayahuasca is speaking to me and not my own mind is that she uses language that I wouldn't normally use. The messages come in ways that aren't familiar. Also, sometimes when a message comes in from a plant or from a spirit, I can just feel it on a deep level in my body. It is not just superficially held in the mind. It lands someplace much deeper. There's also, when I communicate with plants like ayahuasca, wachuma, and whatnot on a regular basis, they often have a signature, a way in which they communicate with us that's identifiable. I know her voice really well, or at least I should say her vibration, because I don't necessarily hear her, I feel her. And she'll show me things sometimes through symbols or through communications in my body, and there's a signature of her energy and vibration that is so familiar now, I know when it's her. So there are these little like calling cards, if you will, that help us to know that what's coming through is not just from the container of our own minds, because it feels different, it looks different, language or wording might be different. And that's how we know something other than our own beautiful egos is bringing in that information. So I really hope that helps to inspire you to trust that there are messages from spirit that are so beyond the limitations of our minds, and some ways in which to honor that and to work with that and to use your discernment. So Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Journey well out there.